Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. Welcome to our snowy farm. Luckily again, since we're not really worried about seasons here, we can get some work done. Oops. Thought I had the crop sensor attached. I don't. Whoops. Hit it so hard I knocked it off kilter. Alright, so the goal of today is going to be to get field 42 planted in wheat. We're going to get that moving along, and then I will focus on the remainder of the VIP orders for level 8. But right now I want to get things growing, because wheat does have a little bit of a lengthy cycle. I don't know that it's entirely going to matter, because I think we're going to be waiting well beyond that for our tomatoes. The greenhouse is definitely a bottleneck at this point. An option is potentially another greenhouse. Don't know that I want to go that route, but we'll see how things go, because I do know we've got a lot of tomatoes coming up in the future, along with strawberries and things like that, so we'll just have to see what makes sense. Alright. So here we are. So I should be able to lower the sensor, lower the seeder. Whoop, I gotta be on the seeder to lower it. I don't know that I need to unfold anything. I have to unfold the sensor. But on the seeder, I don't think I need to. And again, it's just seeds, so I don't... I'm not fertilizing with this, so in theory I guess I don't really need the crop sensor, but it won't hurt. Alright, so we do have everything reset here, so we are all set. And then environmental score-wise, nitrogen's a little low. Again, the tillage situation, maybe a little less than what we'd like. I was gonna say, I think it's just getting rid of snow because we're there, but I'm gonna set my GPS line. There we go. And that way we will be immediately locked in. So this is the first time I have actually planted this field myself. When we bought this field, the sunflowers that we were able to get from it were already present on the field. So this is the first planting cycle, and you can kind of see the scope of what we've got versus the scope of what we've got. What I mean by that is we've got a pretty small seeder here. But the very nature of Riverview is it's kind of hard to maneuver with anything more substantial. But I may get sick of this in the middle of it and go look for alternatives. I'm not sure. Or I just may chalk it up to it's going to be a long day, and it's going to take what it's going to take. So I got going, at 8 a.m. Got up relatively early here. It's obviously struggling up the hill here a bit. So I think I'm going to go down the edge here and get that taken care of, and probably do a few passes back and forth. The good news is wheat isn't taking a lot of seed, so we'll be able to do a good amount with the 2,000 liters of seed we have. I've got plenty back at the farm. I've got about 16,000 liters. One of the things I can look at over time is if I want to do something that lets me move seed. Now, our variable seed rate is increased from low to medium now, so our consumption is going to therefore change as well. Hopefully we don't go to high, but I really don't know. You know, if I only have, say, two groupings of this, meaning, you know, two seeders full of seeds that I need to worry about, you know, this wouldn't be bad, even if I have 3, but, you know, if I start having 6, 7, that's a lot of running back and forth to the farm. It's not super far, so right now, to avoid spending where I don't need to spend, I'm trying to still be a good steward of the finances that I've got, because it's far too easy to you know, do something else and just get sloppy with things, but that's not going to help anybody. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know why it's sliding like that. I was unable to straighten out, but we'll go ahead and get that fixed up there. And yes, I understand the GPS can handle that. It can. But I wanted to get clear of the tree, given what we had seen happening. Alright. So, I think I've got enough room. You know, the tractor and this configuration of equipment is not that large, given that it's attached right directly to my tractor, and I'm not towing behind. I don't have an arm that's then extending the swing radius, and so forth. So similarly, I think once I go by here the second time, I'll be pretty good. We've got plenty of room here. It's just the matter of, like with the harvester where we got hung up on the fence, that created all kinds of fun for us at harvest. So, yeah, this is going to take a bit. No doubt about it. We can kind of see that. So, the good news is, as I said, when we're at the point here where this part of the field, hopefully it'll be a good part of it, we're only doing 180 seeds per square meter. You know, it's pretty frugal in how everything works. Just trying to get this portion here that sticks out a bit. And again, the sensor is banging into things. I don't know that I really need it, but oops. But I don't know that it hurts. So it's not as if I'd be able to seed any faster. Alright, but now I'm all set. Other than the other end, I think I may want a bit of a headland there along the edge. But this should get us moving here. I'm hoping that will work when we come back. I guess we'll find out. Alright, it does look like I am snapped. It just seems a little staggered off here, the way it's lining up. So, you know, along those cliffs and so forth, I'm going to have to run a little bit of edging as well. but you understand what I'm doing, and you understand the goal for today is we're going to plant, and then we're going to see if we have time today to fertilize, and then we're just waiting for the wheat to grow, and we'll be returning to other jobs at that point. But I'm going to keep plodding along here, and I'll see you in a bit. So, I did finish, but you can see I finished after midnight. So, very, very long day planting this field. So it may be worthwhile to take a look and see what alternatives I have in the future, but the challenge is having a direct seeder. There really aren't many, so I may just need to deal with a very, very long day whenever I plant. At least with the seeder, it's possible. Like if I do sunflowers or something, I'll find something. It's just, yeah, I think I'd have to spend $120,000 on the smallest planter beyond this one that will, or the smallest seeder beyond this one that will direct seed. So I'm going to get myself in tonight, and we will pick up fertilization in the morning. So I'll see you in a bit. Back here on the server in the morning, so I'm going to go ahead and put this away, and then I'm going to go ahead and get the fertilizer down, which I need this, well, I need the crop sensor for. Fertilizer cart is over here. It's been over here for a long time. It'll be nice without the wall there. I know it was a bit tight sometimes. So we'll see how that all works, but certainly as I mow and so forth, just want to have the most options I can. Let me just fill this up. I should be okay, I would think. Although if I need lime, that's going to be a different situation. But I guess let's just take a look, and we'll work on that field there and see how everything works out. So I wanted to see where I sit on 42, because I'm not doing anything with weeds. That's going to stick at 15. The tillage went up a bit. I think it was 7 something. I want to say 7.8. So even going through the whole field, it didn't increase a lot. pH value is not bad. That is lime, so I think we're okay. We're going to see if we can get this nitrogen up from 20.9. Oh, actually, never mind. So this field is 85. That's my overall score. That is that way. So still the fields here are driving it down. So the nitrogen score on both is 0. The pH score is not great. So there are a few things I can do to improve things, and obviously the tillage score is also down. So we might be able to, well, we won't be able to do anything here, but obviously still doing it with a crop sensor is going to give us an improvement. So let me begin fertilizing here. Trying to set my line. That should give me a pretty good setup here. Again, that piece up there is where we had planted after midnight, so there's nothing wrong with it. It's just going to be one growth stage behind, which means if I harvest the first day, I'm going to have that issue, so I may end up just waiting until I get a little bit closer, get that one extra day in the books, and let that go. I mean, the nice thing is it's still going to let me fertilize, and it's not going to cause an issue. Not sure I'm going to get that little piece there. I'm going to turn this way, and actually I'm going to turn this off for now. It's going to be interesting because sometimes with precision farming, little pieces like this won't actually go ahead and spread, but it looked like it did. So not only did I see fertilizer spread, I was able to see the map change as well. Alright, so I will say it is a lot of difficulty with my tractors here, even with what I would say are modest hills. I mean, I guess they have a good significant amount of height to them, but, or I should say slope to them, is really what we've got going on, but it shouldn't be that challenging, I would think. So I get this piece done here, and you know, the nice thing is we'll be able to tell on the map where we've been and so forth. So I don't know, somehow in that turn we've got that one little pinprick of red that evaded fertilization, but alright, so I'm going to stop there, and I think because I've got the crop sensor on is what is slowing me down, because I'm actually thinking I'm going to run over here and do the other ends that I'd like to get done, to just make sure that everything is a little bit easier to navigate. So we'll get that taken care of. That should get me enough to be on the straight and narrow. And then along the hills here, or the cliff face, really, just make sure that I've got enough reach to be able to move on this end of the field and reverse without any challenge. Looks like I missed a bit of the bottom of the field there, so I'll have to rectify that when I go around. You know, the only issue here is we certainly are, it's probably the most I've seen in my use of precision farming, where I'm going up sometimes to 190 kilograms. So the sunflowers that were on the field before certainly are heavy users of nitrogen. So let me see if I turn around. Alright, well that's going to put me I don't want to be there, because that's putting me the next row up, I think. The problem is there may be tiny pieces that I'm going to have to work with, because I'm hand driving for a bit in the beginning, so it's possible that there was a bit of deviation that will have pulled me over a little bit. So we'll see how everything paints together. I think we're okay because I didn't go too far before I locked in. So, the field's not entirely in line with the kind of 90 degrees that the GPS will typically lock into. But the heavy nitrogen use certainly is going to require quite a bit of fertilizer. So glad I have this larger implement, and certainly the spread on it is helpful as compared to the time it took us to plant the field yesterday and even into early morning today. This job will be much, much quicker. And obviously that's a lot due to the working with, but certainly even the working speed improves all that because, when I'm not going uphill, I can go 17, which is much, much faster than the 7 or so that you can do when you're planting. Alright, that should, well, that didn't have me in the right direction. Now we're in the right direction. So I'm going to turn this on so that I don't miss any, because with the crop cover I can't quite tell what I'm looking at. It's also a little bit white because it's February, so it's cold out here. So while seasonal growth is not something I'm concerned with, certainly the visuals of the seasons are still here. Obviously we don't have full trees, which is good for moving around. It's a lot easier on this map, especially on the tree-lined roads, to move around in the winter months than it is in other months. So, wow, up to 200 for a split second there. I think this little gash here is going to get us there as well. 195. Yeah, we didn't quite jump up to 200 in this case. So I'm thinking I can get done with this one load of fertilizer, but I'm going to continue on and do exactly that, and I will see you when I'm finished. Coming up on the last piece here on the field, and we'll have our fertilization done. So there we go. The precision farming sensor turned everything off on its own. It's interesting that even when I fold it, I need to do that. So that piece didn't get planted. I missed a tiny segment, but that's what will happen planting in the snow, where it's not always obvious if we've hit the edge of the field. But with the general size of this field, that little bit isn't really bothering me significantly. I can't say it's not bothering me at all. I think that's a field of wheat as well. So they're a little further along. Corn here in 44. So activity abounds, as always, on the map. So there's a lot happening around here. Field 6 up on the hill right around the corner from us. So there are things nearby if in the future I decide I want to get larger, but not sure that's going to be necessary. My focus is really on the VIP orders. I tend to do very little that isn't related to that. One might argue I tend to do nothing that isn't related to that, but in some cases, whoops, did not mean to pop in there. Hit a button on my steering wheel that gets me in cab. So sorry for that sudden loud noise. But things like, keeping the cattle moving along and so forth. We don't have any dairy needs right now. I certainly have slurry needs, so I suppose you could make the argument there that I'm doing things because of slurry. I'm trying to figure out, I think I'll just put it here. I've been kind of sloppy for a long time on the farm, trying to be a little bit better because space is still tight. It's certainly opened up on the north side with replacing the cow barn with the sheep barn, but still a bit limited. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and I think drop this crop sensor there. Don't really use the sprayer. I've talked about it in the past of maybe removing it, but just not sure. Alright, so what's next? It's only 10 o'clock. So just quickly taking a look, as always, at what's driving our focus. We've got 1 of 4 orders done, the largest as far as the delivery quantity. We got wheat in the field. We can go ahead, and so I think I'm actually going to go ahead and run over to the oil mill and get this sunflower oil delivered. Let's do that. So actually, while I was over here, I decided to check on my situation, and my cattle are out of food again, and have been long enough that their health has dropped. So I should remedy that, because I'm definitely trying to keep them productive. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run a couple loads of TMR here. We'll then take a peek at what my situation is at the TMR mixer so that I can keep things full and ready to go. I know it's full up now, but again, as I talked about, kind of keeping the farm clean, you can see a little bit of the challenge with equipment just kind of willy-nilly all around. I think I'll be okay here, but maneuvering around is certainly more of a challenge than it needs to be. So let me deal with the cattle, clean up the TMR mixer, probably continue to make a dent in that silage so that we can make that change to the fermenting silo going forward, and we'll connect up again then when we're getting ready to go get the sunflower oil, because I want this tractor so that I can put the pallets on the trailer easily. So I'll see you in a bit. After they've been hungry for a while, you can see cattle all showed up pretty quickly. They're obviously wanting to get eating, so I certainly feel bad about putting them in that spot, but just wanted to share that view with you. I'll be back in a bit. Alright, here I am at the oil mill. So workers have been nice and busy. Thinking these are going to be 1,000 liters each. They are. Too heavy to pick up, kind of figured that. So I need 2 of these pallets. I'm sure more will pop right out because the factory has been busy producing. Let me just get my forks lined up here. Always a bit of a careful alignment there, but I've got, just the need for 2 of these. So as I said, I can very quickly just get these down here. Whoops. Probably better if I figure out what I'm doing. How about that? Alright. Raise that up. There's another pallet they just brought out for me. So we'll just scoop things up the same way. Alright, let's see. That should get us pretty close to what we need. Take a peek around here. This drone eye view makes it certainly a little bit easier. Let me see. Let me get a little closer. I'm not sure why it's... maybe I was too high. There we go. These things must have some pretty good weight to them, because this tractor is having some fun. Alright, another pallet. I think that may be close to what we've made. But we need, I think, 8,000. I might have things a little mixed up. But we're going to need 6,000 more. And if I look here, no, it's still storing 2,000. So actually they've made what they need. Which is a good thing, because we also need some sunflower seeds later, which we do have in the silo, but then we don't have to build any or plant any sunflowers. Alright, so where do we need to take these? Stu's Farm Shop. I always like to consult my map just to be certain. So yeah, taking it up there near the village. So I'll get myself up there, and I'll see you at Stu's. Alright, coming up here on Stu's, and if I recall, anything like this on pallets that doesn't get dumped here goes around back, and the delivery dock is over here. So we'll get this over, and this should now get our second VIP order complete. There we go. So 13,000, plus we get an environmental bonus on oil. Interesting, because we don't get an environmental bonus on dairy, on milk. But now we're in for a bit of a waiting game, because we have tomatoes and wheat. And while I can get some tomatoes over, certainly, probably makes very little sense to make my way over. I don't know that I'll be able to get the full load, because if you remember when we had 9,000 liters of lettuce, this was a pretty full trailer. I think we were already going up onto our third level of stacking. But, you know, we slowly were stacking that over the months as the tomatoes were growing. Or, I'm sorry, as the lettuce was growing. We'll be doing the same thing with the tomatoes, but more than likely, yeah, I'll take 9,000 liters or, 10,000 liters, whatever it is, of tomatoes over at one point, and then probably do it later on. But it doesn't really help us as far as fulfilling the entire VIP orders. The thing is, I think I'm only at 3,000 or 4,000 liters of tomatoes after all this time. So it is something that I'm waiting on quite a bit. And this is one of the challenges, but it's kind of a blessing and a curse. Like, I don't have to do things, obviously. Certainly the cow barn sale helped. I mean, that was, I think, 370,000, so that got us above 900. So even putting in the new sheep enclosure, which costs nearly 100,000 to build, we're still above $800,000. So the VIPs, being as generous as they are with income, certainly do create a situation where I'm not having to scrap and scrape for every pound and keep things going here. So I'm going to put the trailer back where it goes. For now, that's as good a place as any, as I'm going to load things up there as I can, and I'll probably start stacking some tomatoes on the trailer, but the hold off is always I got to be careful that I don't suddenly need it for something like this, so I do have to look ahead a little bit and make sure I don't have a situation where I suddenly need the trailer and I've got something on it. And it's remedied enough easily. I can go deliver whatever tomatoes I have. But at this point, as I said, with the income coming in, kind of focused very heavily on the VIP piece. But that gives me some leisure where even with the few £1,000s that leave the farm every day or every month for maintenance, I've got enough of a buffer that I can do that for years and years and not really have to worry about it. So for now, I've done everything I can, and I'll see you next time.